Hi there, I'm Kian Cruz, author of Dad Bod, and you're listening to Pop Goes Your World.
If you haven't already, subscribe on iTunes. And while you're there, please leave us a rating and review.
And now it's time for our feature presentation.
I'm Chris McBrien, and the pop culture from Generation X is everything to me.
And I'm Derek Myers, and I'm here to educate Chris on the great pop culture of today's generation.
Episode 231, 1983 Pop Culture Fantasy Draft. Hey, I'm Chris McBrien along with Derek Myers, and this is Pop Goes Your World, the pop culture podcast for the generations. Time for another pop culture fantasy draft. This week, the year 1983 is on the docket. So Derek and I will each be drafting a team of 3 movies, 3 TV shows, 3 songs, and 1 personal pick, all from the year 1983. Talk about a trip back in time. It's going to be a snake draft, as always, and then we're going to flip a coin to see who goes first. But before we get started with our draft, Derek, what pop culture have you been able to get into this week?
Hey, Chris. Only had time to watch a few things this week, unlike the last few where I've just had a long laundry list of stuff. So I'll dive right in. I had a chance to revisit an older movie, well, older for me, from 1998, a little movie called Croupier. It stars Clive Owen, who was in the movie Inside Man that we watched not too long ago, and the great Alex Kingston, who many listeners might remember from her work on the TV show ER. She was Dr. Corday, or on Doctor Who, she was River Song. They're the 2 main people in this movie. It's Clive Owen plays a croupier who works in a little casino, and shenanigans ensue. It's not a heist movie. It's more of a, we'll call it like a thriller sort of con art. There's like stuff going on where you're not really sure what's happening, but the whole movie is told from this croupier's point of view. He's actually a writer, and he's writing a book about his own experiences in the casino, but he's like sensationalizing it a lot more. It's really interesting. I really enjoyed it when it came out. I hadn't seen it in a long time. It showed up on my pick list, and I thought, yeah, I'm gonna give this another go, and I really enjoyed it. I liked it more than I remembered liking it. I thought this is just gonna be okay, but no, I thought it was really good. I was very happy to revisit that one.
I love, by the way, how you say, I've got an older movie this week. It's from 1998. And then my first thought is, that's a newer movie to me. So it's like, that's
all a matter of perspective.
Exactly. That's like this podcast in a nutshell, really. You're like, hey, let's go back in time to like 2000. I'm like, that sounds pretty new to me. So, okay, carry on.
I had, so then we move a little further ahead. I had a chance to rewatch. I had a couple hours to kill the other night, and I need to like clean up and do laundry. So I'm like, I got to just throw something on in the background that I'm going to enjoy listening to, that I don't have to watch every single scene. Sure. And I threw on Iron Man, the first movie in the MCU.
Oh, yeah. And you made me watch that for this podcast. It was the first MCU movie I ever saw.
Yeah, it is still one of my favorites. I think if I had to make a list of my top 5 favorite MCU films of all of them that have come out, Iron Man still makes my top 5. It is very strong. It's really good. It really holds up. I really enjoyed it. It was a fun revisit. Even though I wasn't like glued to the screen, I could hear what was going on. I watched some scenes when I'm like, oh, I know what's coming up. I'd sit down and watch it. No, it was a fun revisit. So I don't want to spend a lot of time on that. I know most people have seen that one.
No, you know me. I watched nothing after 1989, and I actually kind of liked that movie. I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, no, it was really good.
Not bad.
Yeah, and then I watched two much newer ones, 2020 and 2022, both on Netflix. So I mentioned last week that I watched the miniseries Dope Sick on Disney Plus with Michael Keaton, and sure enough, TV and the internet being what it is listening all the time. So they said, hey, Michael Keaton was in a movie in 2020 you may not have watched. You should watch it. We recommend you watch it. And so he was in a movie called Worth from 2020. It's on Netflix. And this movie is based on a true story, and it features Michael Keaton's character as a lawyer who, after the 9/11 attacks in New York City, the people that lost loved ones and the first responders that got sick, they all sued because they're like, there was negligence, there was a lot of people to blame, and everyone wanted to point the finger at someone, and the American way is you sue and you get paid. So Michael Keaton plays the lawyer who the government basically picked to figure out what is a person's life worth. Hence the title of the show is Worth. And it was a very interesting movie. It wasn't very flashy or sexy. I mean, it's about a lawyer dealing with people who have lost people in the most tragic and unimaginable ways. So there's a lot of baggage that comes with it. But I mean, Michael Keaton's great. Stanley Tucci is in it as well, and he's pretty good as sort of the person fighting for the victims. Because in the movie he plays a guy who's lost his wife, and yeah, it was interesting. Again, it was educational because I didn't really. I assumed that had happened, but I wasn't really aware of the specifics. And so the movie does a good job of sort of pulling back the curtain a little bit and giving you a better understanding of how things came about and how people got some sort of restitution regarding the loss of their loved ones, or in the case of first responders who got sick, how they got financial compensation to help them with their medical bills. So again, it's not something for everyone, but if you like Michael Keaton, it was decent. The last feature film I saw was a recent drop on Netflix from 2022, starring Jamie Foxx as a vampire hunter, and it's called Day Shift. And it also stars Dave Franco, the lesser of the Franco brothers, and it also has Snoop Dogg as Jamie Foxx's vampire hunting partner.
Of course it does.
Yeah. It was better than it had any right to be. I'm not saying it was fantastic, but if you're into sort of light action, light comedy, shoot 'em up vampire kind of movies, like if that's like, yeah, that sounds like that checks enough of my boxes, you give it a try. It was I watched it while I was on my exercise bike. I'm just like, I need something to keep my brain occupied while my muscles are doing their thing, and that's what I watched, was Jamie Foxx killing vampires for 2 hours. So not all in one sitting. But again, it was fun. It was what it was. I'd say it's probably like a 6 out of 10. Like, it's not winning any awards, but it was entertaining. And then I finally had a chance to watch an amazing documentary.
For 40 days and 40 nights, he watches documentaries. He likes to learn about the world. It's Derek's Documentaries. Derek's Documentaries.
Oh, what'd you watch?
So I've been mentioning over the last few weeks, Netflix has a series of sports-related documentaries, a series called Untold. And so they dropped 4 episodes of this Untold, which is their season 2. And I watched them out of order. So there was the one on the upstart company And One that did basketball paraphernalia. Yes, there was the one about the basketball referee that bet on his own games. Then there was one about the America's Cup, where the Australians eventually ended up beating the U.S. for the America's Cup, the yacht race. And so those were episodes 2, 3, and 4. So I went back and watched episode 1, which was actually a 2-parter. And it was called The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist. And it's about the football player, oh my God, I can't really think of his name. Matt Teo, I think is his name, where he was basically catfished in the most public of possible forums. And everything came to light at the worst possible time, just like a week before he was going to get drafted into the NFL. And his life just sort of fell apart. And this documentary tries to put some perspective on what at the time seemed like a ridiculous story. And I mean, I didn't know anything about it. I don't follow football. I don't follow college football. I didn't know anything about this at all. So it was completely new to me. But I talked to some people after who were like, yeah, I remember like when it happened in the moment, and it was just the media ran totally out of control with this story, taking it in places that it probably should have never gone. And the documentary really just makes you feel bad for everybody that was involved, or at least it did for me. It's fantastic. It's 2 1-hour episodes. It's definitely one of the better documentaries I've seen all year. I mean, this whole series was really good, but this one definitely lives up to the hype. So again, it's on Netflix. The series is called Untold, and this one was called The Girlfriend Who Didn't Exist, and it's season 2, episode 1, and it's 2 parts. So check that one out if you're looking for something on Netflix. Cool. That's it for me.
So over to me. So I actually went and visited my parents this past week, and we were hanging out, and then my dad, he goes to bed earlier, so he goes to bed, and my mom and I stayed up and watched the baseball game. We both love baseball. So what does that have to do with pop culture? Well, the baseball game gets done, and I'm flipping it around, and I put it on AMC, and Revenge of the Nerds was on. And
On AMC?
Yes, on AMC. So I was like, Mom, no offense, but I'm watching this movie. Like, I can't not watch this movie. So she's like, well, yeah, I don't want to watch this. I'm going to bed. So I'm like, probably a good thing. You don't want to watch Revenge of the Nerds with your mom. So she goes to bed, and I put this thing on. So the movie, have you ever watched anything on AMC? I think you've mentioned in the past, you have this like disdain for AMC, if I remember correctly, because they censor everything, right?
It's the censorship that bothers me, because Breaking Bad is an AMC production. Better Call Saul is an AMC production, and those shows are fantastic. Yet you have AMC showing real Hollywood movies, and they just cut stuff out of it. Now, I get it. On mainstream America TV, you can't show boobs.
Oh, my.
It is what it is. But come on, in this day and age, how do you not let them say the things that they want to say? Especially a movie from the 80s. Like, we have moved past a point where things that were said in the 80s that were in bad taste or considered inappropriate, for the most part, are not considered inappropriate anymore. But anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Doesn't AMC also have The Walking Dead?
Yes.
There's like all this
they have
gore
some quality programming.
And but there's lots of gore in that, and it's violent, and there's a lot of swear words in it and stuff. But you're right. They put these movies on from the 80s and they cut them out. So Revenge of the Nerds, I put it on AMC. It's a 90-minute film. With the AMC censoring out all of the swearing and nudity, it was down to 4 minutes and 32 seconds. The commercial breaks were longer than that thing, I tell you.
I don't think much revenge was gotten in a 4-minute movie.
It was it was awful. And I mean, I you know me, I like that movie. I always get a kick out of that movie, and I laugh at a lot of it. But yeah, it was pretty bad on AMC. So do not watch Revenge of the Nerds on AMC if you can. But I got this also for you.
Here's your dad joke of the week.
So Derek, Bono and The Edge walk into a bar, and the bartender says, "Oh no, not you two again."
That was pretty clever. Yeah.
Oh, where was the bar located? Where the streets have no name.
Oh. You got right to the line and then jumped over it.
What? How many drinks did each of them order? 1. How did they get to the bar? Mysterious ways.
Oh, please stop. Please stop.
Derek, I will do this podcast with or without you. Is there any chance you might have a documentary for us this week?
Derek Stocks! Party time! Excellent!
Colonel Sanders.
Slow down there, Chris.
Was he finger licking good?
Oh, my.
I can think of 11 reasons not to like that.
2 of which you know are salt and pepper.
Oh, I heard about this.
Oh my God, I don't know if we can be friends anymore.
But I appreciate the effort.
Back the truck up, hold it.
You know, more than just white dudes.
2 of my favorite things, Star Wars and beer. I'm such a typical dad joke guy. I'm just like so bad, so lame. Okay, so Derek, we have had 8 pop culture fantasy drafts so far, where we draft a team, as I mentioned at the top of the show. We draft a team of 3 movies, 3 TV shows, 3 songs, and a personal pick, and then we send off our list to our panel of esteemed judges, Derek. And then they vote on their favorite, and then we reveal the winner. So far, of those 8, I'm up 5-3. So I won the drafts from 81, 82, 84, 85, and 88, and you won the drafts for 1980, 86, and 89. And as I mentioned, this time out, you and I are now going to draft a team from 1983. And then we'll only have 1987 left. So it should be interesting. So we got to start things off with a coin flip. So we're going to flip a coin here. Derek, would you like to call it? What would you like?
I'll take tails.
You got it. Tails it is. Congratulations. So you get the first pick in the 1983 Pop Culture Fantasy Draft. You can go any way you want except for the personal pick. As you know, that's our last pick. But you can pick a movie, you can pick a TV show, you can pick a song, whatever you want. And when someone picks it, like I say, it's a snake draft. We go back and forth. And once a pick is taken, it's gone. It's off the board. The other person can't have it. So how do you want to kick off the 1983 fantasy draft, my friend?
Well, I'm going to try something a little out of left field this time, but I'm not going to start my out of left field with the first pick. I'm going to go right to movies, as we often do, and I'm going to take Trading Places as my first pick.
One of my favorite movies, by the way, of all time is Trading Places. I absolutely love that movie, and I can imagine watching that one on AMC. Be another
and
one.
No, I can't.
Everything would be cut out of that.
Jamie Lee Curtis would have her shirt on the whole movie. I'll tell you that much.
Yes, unfortunately, I guess. I love Trading Places. It was great. I liked it when I was younger, and when it came out, I thought it was awesome. I watched on VHS for years and stuff like that. That's a good pick. So why did you mentioned something about coming out of left field? So you didn't come out.
No, my first. Yeah, I'm basically going to start the draft like I always do, but I got some plans, and we'll see how it plays out. But I really, honestly, the last one we did, I thought it'd be close, and I thought I had it, and unfortunately, it just didn't go my way. And I've lost a number of these drafts, and the first one really hurt because I think I really just misunderstood how it was going to come together. So that one was totally on me. Then there's a few other ones where it was like, well, you had some there was some strategy you had that I felt your team was just a better team than mine. But the one from the last draft we did, that one to me was the one that sort of hurt me the most, that I really thought I was going to win and it didn't. So I thought, you know what, you've already got 5 out of the 10 in your side. The best I can do at this point is tie. So I'm just gonna try something a little bit different, but not right now. I mean, I figured I needed to pick a big movie right out of the gate. I figured Trading Places was probably high on your list, so if I didn't take it quick, you'd probably nab it. So yeah,
and I mean, it was a popular film. It made over $90 million domestically. It finished 4th at the box office for that year, and it's got Eddie Murphy and Dan Aykroyd. Both when they were at the top of their game.
Dan Aykroyd wishing he could be that skinny.
Yeah, no kidding. No, I mean, it's a really, really good pick. And movies are pretty important. So with that note, I think I've got to go with the highest grossing movie of that year. I really got to go that way. I'm going to pick a movie too. I'm going to go with Return of the Jedi. And by the way, you know me, it's not Star Wars episode whatever the hell it is, 6 or whatever they call it there. It is Return of the Jedi, and it is my first pick. I'll put that in for my movie. So that was nice and quick. And back to you.
Yeah, I when we did the 1980, Empire Strikes Back was absolutely the number one pick. There was no question. And I mean, I think when you ask most Star Wars fans and science fiction movie fans, Empire is their favorite, hands down. But I found with Jedi, especially over the years, as the Star Wars franchise has continued to expand and expand and expand, Jedi gets a lot of crap from a lot of people. There's definitely
undeservedly so.
Well, I think the Ewoks sort of, in retrospect, people are a lot more critical of them than they were in the moment. And so that was why I didn't take Star Wars as my first pick, is I thought, you know what? It's a big movie, and if it was still on the board, I was taking it as my second pick. But I
guess I do want to have a note on this to the Star Wars fans out there. I'm going with Return of the Jedi, as you know, in its original format. So when it first came out, the very final scene of that movie, I absolutely love. When the camera pans over to the forest and there's the ghost of Ben. And it pans back and you see the ghost of Yoda, and then it pans back further and you see the ghost of Anakin, but it's Sebastian Shaw. Yeah. And of course, since then, George Lucas has gone in and superimposed, what's his name? Hayden
Christensen.
Oh, just awful. He's ruined it. But I'm talking about the original. The original Return of the Jedi, it was quite good. I thought it was really good. And like I say, it made, $100 million more than the second movie that year, which was Tootsie, which came out the year before, because it came out in December the year before. So I had to go with that one. So
all right, I'm going to go over to TV shows, and again, I found that the last draft we did, the TV show did not have a very deep bench, but this one I felt there's a lot to like here. But I figure there's a couple sort of that are a little bit more well known, have a little bit more of that nostalgia factor. So I'm going to start with what I think was the most popular one of the year, and that's the A-Team.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good pick. And I think if there is a clear cut number one TV show, and the other thing too we should mention is if you're not aware of the rules, the TV show had to debut in 1983. So it's not like the most popular TV show in 1983, which would be something like Cheers or whatever it was.
Right.
No, it has to have debuted, because otherwise, Cheers could be multiple years, right? And that's why we did it.
Right.
But no, I think the A-Team is the clear-cut winner there. I don't think TV's as deep as you think from this year.
Well, I got a few that I'm going to throw out there that I'm hoping will have some nostalgic love from the judges. But again, TV shows I find are always the hardest in my mind. Are always the hardest category.
It can be tough.
Movies, there's usually clearly these are 6, 7, 8 of the best movies, most popular movies. Songs, again, there's usually a lot to choose from. But I find TV shows, that's usually the real wild card.
Anyway,
what are you doing, Chris?
Yeah, and you usually kill me on songs when we do these drafts. Like you always thump me when it comes to music. TV, movies, those are a little bit more in my wheelhouse, but music not so much. So then I'm going to maybe try and do something out of left field. I'm going to flip down to songs right now. I'm going to take a song for my next pick.
Yep.
And I think I went with the number one movie of the year. So I think I'm going to go with the number one song of the year. And the album came out in June 17th of 1983, and that was Synchronicity. And I'm going to go with Every Breath You Take by the Police.
That's a good pick.
That's the way I want to go. I want to have a really, really good, because I think too, because you pull stuff out of your butt when it comes to these songs, and you know the music a lot better than I do. So I think I need to have like a big song at the top just to give me a chance. So that's what I'll go with.
There you go.
All right.
That's a good pick.
Yep.
All right. I'm going to stick with TV shows because, again, I think there's a couple of sort of bigger shows on the list. And
trying to sew up the category a bit, maybe. Okay,
I'm
makes
going
sense.
with Webster.
Ooh, Webster, which in some ways I'll put that on the list over here, Webster. In some ways, I used to always think of Webster as being a bit of a knockoff of Different Strokes.
Yeah.
You're
racist.
I don't know. It was just my instinct at the time. I'm like, Webster, you're just knocking off Different Strokes. This little guy, right? But I mean, it also had Alex Karras and Susan Clark, and she was in Porky's. So yeah, no, Webster's a pretty good pick, and I think a lot of people have some fond memories of it. Remember too, a big part of doing this draft, you were mentioning before about what's the strategy you got to take to try and win, and which ones do you pick first? Really, we're not trying to appeal to ourselves. We're not trying to appeal to each other. We're not trying to appeal to anyone listening to the podcast. We're trying to appeal to the judges. They're the ones that make the picks, right? So, I mean, you got to keep that in mind, too. Okay, what do I do now? I have no TV shows, and I feel like I need to have a TV show. Even though I never watched this TV show, I think it was pretty enduring, and I think people will, they'll at least recognize that it was an important TV show from that time, and I'm going to go with Mama's Family. It ran from 1983 to 1990. So, like I said, did you ever watch any episodes of that?
No, well, maybe a couple here and there. Was it Vicki Lawrence played Mama, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was basically a spin-off of the Carol Burnett show.
Yeah, it was a sketch from the Carol Burnett show.
And then they said,
right.
we'll give it its own show. Yeah. And it was Vicki Lawrence who played Mama. But I never really watched it or anything. It wasn't really my cup of tea, but I think it's like when I look at the TV shows that are debuting, there's not a whole lot. I don't think. I mean, there's some, but I mean, now that you've taken off those two with the A-Team and Webster, I think I better make a move here. So
there you go.
And again, that's part of the draft too. Is you got to sometimes zig, you got to sometimes zag.
Yep.
You got to sometimes take your opportunities when you can. So I'm going to go with Mama's Family. So over to you.
Going back to movies.
Okay. Good.
And I don't like to take a lot of movies from the same genre, but I got to do it. So I'm taking another comedy. I'm taking National Lampoon's Vacation.
That's a great pick, and it would have been my next pick. So just so you know.
I was a little surprised you didn't go there, but then I was like, well, I think Chris might have to zig into TV shows there. But because if you didn't, I may have taken Mama's Family. I might have just tried to sew it up. But
no, that's a good pick. Vacation was a great movie, and it really the first real National Lampoon movie was Animal House. But Vacation is one that I think has endured, and because it became had all those sequels. I mean, European Vacation wasn't great, although I liked that one. I thought it
had its moments.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty good.
I thought the casting of the kids was I didn't feel that the children the actors that they cast in that sort of fit as well. But yeah.
Yeah, and but no, I thought that one was okay. And then Christmas Vacation, a lot of people like. I'm not a big fan of that one. And Vegas Vacation, people like. But I think
I took Christmas Vacation in our 1989 draft, and I won that year. So
now I'm starting to think. Oh, what do I need to do here? Oh boy, I don't. I think no, I can't go back to there. Can I? Oh boy, what do I need to do? Something totally different? No, I'm not going to do that. Let's go back to songs. believe it or not. And I'm going to go with another really, really popular song. Again, I was around. I was 13 years old in 1983, so I remember, some of the pop culture at that time. And one of the things was this song was so popular, even though it came from a movie that wasn't very popular. But the song was, and that's Flashdance, What a Feeling by Irene Cara. And you got to remember back then, Irene Cara was big. She was in Fame in 1980, and then, this movie came out a couple of years later. So this song was humongous. So I'm going to go with that. So I'm going to go with Flashdance. What a Feeling.
Are we, sorry, I just want to double check this. Are we sure that came out in the right year?
Yeah, no, because it was released.
Oh, yeah, April 1983. Okay,
yeah, it was released with the movie on the movie soundtrack. So we're good to go.
Okay. No, I thought one of us had picked that in a previous draft. So okay, I must have overlooked that one. Sorry, my mistake.
Nope. And that's really good that you mentioned that, because the key here with songs is the songs couldn't be popular in 1983. It's not what it's about. The song has to be on an album that was released in 1983. So
correct.
Good on you for checking up on that. So
all right. So that was, sorry, I'm just writing these down. That was your fourth pick, right?
That's correct. So yeah, it's over to you for pick number 5. Okay. And you have 2 movies and 2 TV shows and no song, Jet. So it's over to you, my friend.
Okay. Back to movies.
All right.
Sewing it up right here, right now. I'm taking the beloved classic, A Christmas Story.
Oh, what a great
Which
pick.
might have still been around. I wasn't sure if that was at the top of your list, but I just need that nostalgia factor. I think a lot of people are going to see it, recognize it, love it, and
I kind of had it earmarked for my personal pick.
So did I, but
I thought, it'll probably slip, and I can probably pick it up there, so I'll have to take it off there. But
now that does give you the freedom to stay away from the movie category.
I don't have to
but I already have 2 TV shows, and you already have 2 songs, so I think this will be an interesting.
You've sewed up movies now, so. Oh boy, yeah. So there's no sense in me taking movies, because that just doesn't make sense from a draft point of view, because you've sewed it up. So oh my goodness gracious! So I got to go back to TV shows. I got 2 songs. We've had issues before with long running TV shows.
Yep.
That start in a certain year.
Yep.
And so picking them has kind of come back and bitten us in the butt a couple of times. So I'm really leery to go here. So I think instead I'm going to go with something that I was a bit of a fan of, in 1983 when it came out. But I still think, number 2, we got to look back on 1983 and think, okay, which list best represents 1983 in pop culture? And I know this sounds crazy because it's animated, but I'm going to go with He-Man and the Masters of the Universe.
Yeah. That was my next pick if you didn't take it. And I'm going to go the other way on this and pick the one that you just passed on. At least I assume the one you just passed on. And I am picking, again, I'm going that nostalgia factor, a beloved favorite of so many people, The Reading Rainbow.
Ooh, good for you. That
was that the one you were looking at?
No, because Reading Rainbow ran from 1983 a long time up to 2006.
2006, yeah. There was another one, I think, that I know what you were. There was 2 that I looked at that started in 83 that had very long runs, and I was like, well, I don't know if those are just the landmine you don't step on or not.
Yeah, the other one I was thinking of, and I'm I can mention now because you've now sewn up movies and TV shows. I was thinking of Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, because it started in 83, and I thought, oh man, there's still something about Wheel of Fortune, even though it's still running. It just has this 80s vibe about it. I don't know. It seems like a kind of an 80s thing. It's just kind of stuck in the past. Oh, Reading Rainbow was definitely on my list. It was a bit lower on the list. I have a TV show that I really want to take, but I just don't know if enough people. It's funny enough, the TV show that I'm thinking about taking, I mentioned in class today. For those of you that don't know, during the day, for my day job, I don't podcast for a living. Derek and I don't podcast for a living. I don't know.
Wait, we don't get paid for this? We've been doing all this time for free?
We're not millionaires from this. And so I was in lecture hall today. I'm a professor during the day. I'm in lecture hall today. I'm talking about this one TV show, and everybody looked at me like I had 3 heads. So they don't know this. So I don't think I could go there.
I don't think any of your students are judges on our panel, though.
No, they're not. But, oh, boy.
What was the show? Come on, I've already picked my TV show. Tell me.
The show I was thinking of was Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting.
Oh, geez. I didn't even have that on my scouting. That's a good pick.
1983 to 1984.
I mean, that's a terrible pick. Don't take that.
And my students are like, what the hell is that? But I wonder, like to me, like it's an enduring show. I love that show a lot. But I don't think it's something that you necessarily identify with 1983. you know, so that's why I kind of struggle with it. So you know what? I'm going to do something that's completely different, because I know you have to go to songs, so I got to take a song here.
Yeah.
Because that's just from a draft perspective.
I think I screwed that up, but anyway.
And
I
I'm
know
going to
exactly.
go. There was an album that came out in September of 1983, and it was called Faster Than the Speed of Light. It was from Bonnie Tyler, and the song I'm picking is Total Eclipse of the Heart.
Wow. That is not where I thought you were going with that.
But when I think of that song, like I think of the 80s. And the other thing I really like, and the reason why I think this song might resonate with some of the judges is, have you ever seen the movie? And I know this is newer and out of my comfort zone, but you ever seen the movie Old School?
Not only have I seen it, it is the next new movie I'm going to have you watch.
So there's a
I've got it literally is the top of my list.
That's so awesome, because it's a bit of a throwback to those 80s comedies. And there's a scene in it where they're at a wedding and there's a band that's playing. It's called the Dan Band, and they're playing Total Eclipse of the Heart, but they put in like these swear words. It's so funny. It's so funny. It makes me laugh. So I think as a result of the Dan Band doing that, it's made that song kind of, you know, have a new life, you know, to a different generation, to the millennial generation. So I'm going to go with that. A bit of a weird pick maybe, but for me it's from 1983. So I'll go with it. All right.
I'll be honest. I hate that song. It wasn't even on my list. So
okay,
we've done 6 picks. I have 3 shows, TV shows, and 3 movies.
No songs, which is, you're right. You're taking a different.
That was my zig. I was when
but
I put
you can do that because you're so good with songs, so you can pull that off.
Well, and honestly, I knew Every Breath You Take was going to be the first song. Whichever of us drafted into the song category, that was going to be the first one, no question. And I thought, I'll give you that. You picked 2 songs that were not on my short list, so I'm fine. I mean, they're good songs, but I'm like, they weren't on my list. But I felt that the 1983 songs had such a deep bench of strong picks that I could afford to give you free reign of the category.
That's good.
If you wanted to pick all 3, which you did before I got in there, I was going to give that to you because I felt that I could still at least equal your picks with whatever 3 I'm left with. And it hurts me a little that you chose 2 that weren't on my short list, because now my short list still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 songs on it, and I've got to narrow that down to 3. But I'm going to go with the one that I honestly, I can't believe you passed on. It is my pick, right? Before I blurt out what
yes,
I'm
it
doing
is. It's over to you. You're going to take a song, I'm assuming.
I can't believe that you didn't take Legs by ZZ Top from the Eliminator album.
Oh, very cool.
I was sure that was going to be a Chris pick, and I thought, well, I'm going to give that one up. But no, I got to take that as my first song.
Yeah, no, that actually works because it was released in March of 1983. So, yeah, that one escaped me. I thought it was in a different year. I don't know why I thought it was in 1984 for some reason.
Nice.
So good for you. So you're taking Legs by ZZ Top. That's a great pick.
Oh, yeah.
Look at you. So,
Thank you.
good.
All right. So what are you going to do now? Are you going to? I mean, it doesn't matter because I can't step on your toes. Do you want to sew up the TV category and pick your last one, or do you want to just jump back into movies first?
I don't know. What do I want to do here? I think I got to go back to movies because I need another movie, right? So now I have Return of the Jedi, and I took that one too because I thought there's a couple of good comedies. I think I'm going to go with. This is the hard part of the draft too, right? Well, you're not really sure what you want to go with here. I think I'm going to go with Splash.
Yeah, I thought that was. I'm like, this is going to be a Chris pick for sure.
I mean, I also had considered Splash as one of my personal picks. It's one of Tom Hanks' early movies, and Daryl Hannah's in it and stuff. But the thing is, if you've seen this movie, and I know you're not a big fan of it, but I think that from a judge's perspective, I think that it might resonate with them because it's one of those kind of Gen X comedy movies. It's I don't know. In some ways, it's kind of special. So I'm going to go with Splash. I like that one. Yep.
Nice.
I'm cool with it. I need a comedy to offset Return of the Jedi too. So.
Okay. I've got this long list and even a not so short list here. Oh, these are all great songs, but it's like I'm honestly not really sure which one to jump into next.
You always do so good on these songs, I tell you.
Well, and so many big artists had like iconic songs that came out this year, but it's like I always seem to keep pulling from the same artists year after year, and I don't necessarily know if that's always been helping me, but you know what? I think I have to go with one of the most famous pop songs from 1983, and I'm going with "Girls Just Want to Have Fun" by Cyndi Lauper.
Oh, wow.
It was a huge hit. It's got a lot of staying power. They play it nonstop on the 80s channels. And I haven't picked anything from Cyndi on any of the previous drafts. I mean, this album was so big, it had a lot of singles. But yeah, I'm going to go with "Girls Just Want to Have Fun."
Well, I mean, she didn't really have much else to pick from. Like you mentioned, you haven't done anything else in other drafts on her, and there's probably a reason for that, right?
Well, that first album was just so big, but I've got like 5 or 6 of my other artists on here. It's like they had albums before 83. They've had albums since 83. A couple of them I've like Madonna's on this list. I'm considering Billy Idol's on the list. I'm considering David Bowie's on the list. Like these are all bands that Duran Duran's on the list. Like they've all had so many songs, and I've already pulled songs from some of those artists on previous drafts, so it's like I really got to figure out what I'm going to do with my last song pick. But in any case, where are you going next, Chris? Are you going to finish up your TV shows or your movies first?
I guess I got to do movies or TV shows. So I've got Return of the Jedi and Splash, and I think the other movie that I really like from that year, and it's very nostalgic, is War Games. So I'm going to go with that one. We've reviewed that movie.
We reviewed that one, yeah.
And I like that movie. And to me, when I think back to 1983, I think back to things like global thermonuclear war, which is a huge threat during the Cold War. And that movie was very popular at the box office, too. Like, it finished, in the top 5 at the box office. So, I think I got to go with that one. It finished, with like almost $80 million, finishing at the 5th spot. So, yeah, I think it was popular then. I think it's still popular now with Gen Xers looking back. So yeah, I'll go with War Games.
Nice.
The movies. Yeah.
I thought you might have taken Scarface, but again, it's more of although it's a well known, it's sort of niche. Like not everybody loves it as much as some people do.
The other movies I was considering was Octopussy and Risky Business. Both of those I thought of them, and then I thought, there's some other good comedies there, and but no, I've got good comedy with Splash. I'm happy with it. So yep, War Games I'm happy with. I'll go with that.
All right. Okay. I got a tough call to make. I'll read you the songs on my short list. You obviously don't say anything until I pick, but this is the songs I'm considering for my short list. Karma Chameleon by the Culture Club, The Reflex by Duran Duran, Holiday by Madonna, Sunglasses at Night, Corey Hart, Sweet Dreams Are Made of This by the Eurythmics, and Love is a Battlefield, Pat Benatar, and Let's Dance by David Bowie. Now I picked Bowie and Pat Benatar and Madonna on previous drafts. I think I've had Madonna like 3 times. I mean, there's a reason that she's as famous and popular as she is. Like she's a fantastic artist. And Holiday, one of her very first hits, and of course was then repurposed for the Holiday Rap. Not that that's a pick I could do in this draft, but okay. So I have ZZ Top Legs and I have Girls Just Want to Have Fun. I think, again, I'm sort of thinking like what were the biggest songs of 1983, and again, I think one that's got staying power is Sweet Dreams Are Made of These by the Eurythmics. I think I gotta go with that as my number 9
That's a
pick,
great pick. That
song.
would have been the next one on my list too, like after the 3 I took. Yeah, that's a good pick. So
yeah, and I mean, believe me, there's a lot of other great songs. All Night Long, Lionel Richie, Owner of a Lonely Heart by Yes, Talking in Your Sleep, The Romantics. Like there's so many good songs still. I'm writing them all down going, wow, there are a lot of like Keep Feeling Fascination, Human Leaf, like tons of songs from 1983. I knew that this was a very, very deep bench in the songs category. So
I was also thinking about like Straight from the Heart by Bryan Adams, because I'm Canadian. And also another one that stood out to me was Photograph by Def Leppard. I was a bit of a metalhead, so.
I had Rock of Ages by Def Leppard on my list because I thought it might be just a little bit well known, and I was worried that people, if they saw the song Photograph, might think of the Nickelback song Photograph, and I didn't want them to not vote for my list because they thought for some reason that I was referring to a song from the 2000s instead of a song from 1983 because, strange things.
So I've got to go with the TV show here. Yep. It's over to me. And like I mentioned, I was thinking about going Wheel of Fortune, but I think Wheel of Fortune ran from 1983 till present day. So I think a lot of people might not identify it with the 80s, but I'm going to go with Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting. I'm going to go that way because I think people still identify that as being an 80s kind of thing. It's a very 80s thing.
Yeah.
Even his set, that he had it in, it was like this little tiny, like, it was just basically an easel in him. Like it was just so, simple that it was very 80s. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting. For
nice.
my
I think it's a good nostalgia pick. I think people people who know it are gonna love it.
Because like I said, we do want to represent 1983. So I'm going to go with that. All right, so it's over to you for your personal pick. Now, with a personal pick, the rule is you can pick a TV show, you can pick a movie, you can pick a song, any one of the ones that you want, but it needs to be kind of personal to you in some way, something that you kind of resonates with you. So what do you want to go with?
I think I have to go with TV shows. I've narrowed it down to two, and I'm literally going to just sort of talk through it for a second. So in 1983, the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon debuted on Saturday mornings. And as a huge Dungeons and Dragons nerd, this show was just, it's basically like kids today who read comic books can go out and watch the Marvel Cinematic Universe and see their comic book come to life on a big movie screen. When we were little and we played Dungeons and Dragons, this was the closest thing we got. Was here's this cartoon that was loosely based on the game, where you got to see the characters on the show that were based on the characters you could create, fight the monsters you see in the books, and so it gave us that outlet. But again, it only ran, although it ran for a couple of seasons, they only did a limited number of episodes, and it's a very niche show. So I don't necessarily know. Again, it's got to be a personal pick, but at the same time, I want to get something that maybe a little more broad appeal. So my other one that I think I'm talking myself into taking is my all-time favorite game show ever is Press Your Luck. Big bucks, no whammy, stop. Press Your Luck, which they've tried to relaunch. I think they did a version of it in like the late 90s, early 2000s, and then now they've gone back to the original 1983 set, but they've just changed all the dollar values and they made it all digital. So again, I think it's one of those ones that maybe has had a shelf life and people are starting to remember it a little better. New people are starting to rediscover it a little more. So I think that's where I'm going. I'm going to take Press Your Luck from TV as my all-time favorite game show. And you know how much I love game shows.
You like game shows.
Love game shows, but it has that urban legend that's actually true about the guy who learned how to cheat on the show and he ended up winning $100,000, which I've actually watched those episodes. They aired them one time as a special. They had to do it over two shows because the guy just went on and on and on and on. It was awesome. So yeah, Press Your Luck. That's definitely my personal pick.
Yeah, the original with Peter Tomarken is the way to go. You're right. They've had a couple of incarnations since, and they're just not the same. They tried changing the set, didn't work. They've tried going back to the original set, still doesn't work. But the fact that they've sort of reinvented that show a couple of times, maybe will keep things fresh in people's minds and might gain you a couple of votes. Okay, so for my personal pick, there's no question here. I gotta go with a movie. And I'm Canadian, and I love comedy movies, and we have reviewed this movie on the podcast before, and I'm going with the 1983 comedy film Strange Brew.
Nice.
With the Mackenzie brothers.
From the Mackenzie.
SCTV sketch made into a film. Even if you're not Canadian, you've heard of this movie, of the Mackenzie brothers. So it's my personal pick. I love that movie. It's for so many reasons.
It's very strong.
Oh, God, it's good. Go back and listen to the episode where you and I did, and some of the quotes in it, like, save me a beer, hey, and all that stuff. Oh, I got to go with it. So it's definitely Strange Brew. So that's pretty. Do you want me to run down our list? So
I was going to say one other thing the draft is done, but one of the other ones I was considering as a personal pick, just sort of out of left field a bit, was the movie Blue Thunder.
Oh, that's a good one. The Roy Scheider with the helicopter.
That was a movie that and I've recently rewatched it. It's not. It's. I don't want to say it holds up because it's very 80s, but considering it was sort of trying to be like a little futuristic and technologically advanced, it was all about like surveillance and stuff was a big key part of the movie. It was a fun little movie, but again, it's pretty obscure, and I think I'm better off to go with what I did with my Press Your Luck. It definitely Press Your Luck has had a bigger impression on me than Blue Thunder, but that was in the mix for a half a second.
Blue Thunder was a good movie. Okay, so for my three movies, I went with Return of the Jedi, Splash, and War Games. And your three movies were Trading Places, National Lampoon's Vacation, and A Christmas Story. Two strong lists, by the way. TV shows, I went with Mama's Family, He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, and Bob Ross, The Joy of Painting. And your TV shows were The A-Team, Webster, and Reading Rainbow.
I got news for you, buddy. I killed you in that category.
Yeah. Songs, I went with Every Breath You Take by The Police, Flashdance, What a Feeling by Irene Cara, and Total Eclipse of the Heart, Bonnie Tyler. And you went with Legs, ZZ Top, Girls Just Want to Have Fun, and Sweet Dreams. And my personal pick was Strange Brew, and your personal pick was Press Your Luck. the TV show. So
Nice.
So I think we did pretty good. Yeah, I think
Some pretty good picks on both of those lists.
Yeah, so we'll have to wait and see what the judges, how the judges rule on this one. And the winner of this draft, of course, gets our trophy. The Funko Fonzie moves over to them. And I'm currently winning 5-3, so we will see what happens next. But in the meantime, let's have some
Fun with Caveman.
Okay, so for this week, what I've got lined up for you is it's a little bit of a game that we play around here. It goes a little bit like this.
I'd like to know where you got the notion. Yeah, I'd like to know where you got the notion. Rock the quote. Rock the quote. Rock the quote. Rock the quote. Rock the quote.
Man, I really need to work on my falsetto. It's so bad. Oh my God.
It is what it is, man. Just embrace it. Embrace
Okay,
it.
so this is the game, Rock the Quote. And the idea is I'm going to give you a movie quote, and you just have to guess the movie it comes from. Very simple to do.
Okay.
Right? And of course, all the movie quotes come from movies from 1983. So it should be pretty simple, right?
Well, I hope so. And I've got my draft list here of the movies from 1980. So even though I haven't seen them all and I haven't seen many of them in a long time, I'm hoping that it's sort of like a little cheat sheet might help me.
Ah, man, you are going to kill these. These are easy. Okay. First quote from a 1983 film. Just name the film. Say hello to my little friend.
That is Scarface.
Indeed. Al Pacino as Tony Montana. Okay.
I should have said that was from Octopussy. Then you'd have to bleep it.
That's a good one. Okay. Do you want to play a game?
Oh, that's War Games.
Yes. Joshua the computer said that to Matthew Broderick. Okay. You'll shoot your eye out. What movie was that from 1983?
Oh, well, that was from one of my picks, A Christmas Story.
Of course. Lots of people said that movie. There was like the department store Santa, and all the other people.
His parents.
Yep. The Red Ryder carbine action 200 shot range model air rifle. Okay.
With a compass in the stock.
All right, here's one. I am your father, Luke. Give in to the dark side of the Force, you knob.
Well, I was going to say Return of the Jedi, but maybe it was from. Geez, I want to say Spaceballs, but I don't even think that was 83. Spaceballs.
No, it was from Strange Brew. Remember,
Oh,
then his
yes,
brother's like, he saw a Jedi 17 times, eh?
Yeah, right.
Here's one. He was wearing my Harvard tie. Can you believe it? My Harvard tie. Like, oh, sure, he went to Harvard.
Yeah, that was from my first pick, Trading Places.
Dan Aykroyd as Louis Winthorpe III said that line. Okay, here's a great one. I love this one. Fastest chicken in the South.
Oh, I just watched that. That was Burt Reynolds, the race car one. Stroke Race.
Yes, Clyde Torkel Chicken, the Chicken Pit Special. Oh, it's so good. All right, here's one. But, sir, it's wafer thin. Or as I think he says in the movie, it's wafer thin.
Wafer thin. Yeah, that was Monty Python's The Meaning of Life.
See, I told you you're going to do good. All right. Yeah. Oh, man, there is nothing finer than being behind the wheel of your own car, except maybe for...
I'm just going to take a guess. Is it Risky Business?
Oh, not a bad guess. No, it's from Christine.
Oh, I should have said Octopussy.
No.
Damn it. Second question in a row. That would have been the perfect answer.
And the funny thing is that you can say Octopussy, but you can't say It's funny how they bleep it out. So go figure. Okay. Sometimes you just got to say what the
I think that one was Risky Business.
Yes! It was said by both Tom Cruise and Curtis Armstrong. By the way, Curtis Armstrong, one of the greatest actors of 80s comedies. Booger. Oh my God, he was great.
Well, and he's been doing voice work on American Dad for like 15 years now. So the guy's still collecting a paycheck.
Oh yeah, he's still working. Okay, last one. This is a good one. Mom, I'm going to rip off your head and down your neck. First of all, by the way, movies from 1983 had a lot of bad words in them.
Yes.
I couldn't even scrape together 10 movie quotes from 1983 without swear words in them. So, do you know which movie that one's from?
Ooh. Well, I got to take a guess. It's got to be a comedy.
Let me do it in the voice, okay?
Well,
I can do it in the voice.
Yeah, okay.
Mom, I'm going to rip off your head and down your neck.
Yeah, that doesn't help me. I'm going to just guess and say Mr. Mom.
Dude, it's from Dr. Detroit.
I've never seen it.
Clifford Skridlow's. I thought you had seen Dr. Detroit.
No, I've never seen it.
Oh, because on one of the previous shows I remember mentioning, you're like, Dr. Dr. Detroit. You knew the song.
I know the song. That's all I know.
Oh my God, he threatens Mom. And then I love in the final credits. Okay, you always talk about sticking around and watching the final credits, like in those MCU movies, because there's like an Easter egg thing at the end. Let me tell you, the end of Dr. Detroit, you got to stick around because during the credits, and then it says, the Doctor returns in Dr. Detroit 2, The Wrath of Mom. It's like so awesome. Oh God. I can't believe you've never seen Dr. Detroit.
Never seen it. It's not available on the streamers. I've been looking for it.
Oh, you gotta remember that was the first movie that Aykroyd did after Belushi died. Audiences kind of rejected it because they were like, you can't do anything without Belushi. It was a real. I like Dr. Detroit. I thought it was quite funny. So, all right, we're gonna send off our fantasy draft list to our esteemed panel of judges who we love so much. And they're going to vote, and then next time out, we're going to announce the winner. We're going to see who gets possession of the old Funko Fonzie trophy over here. But next time that we get back, we also have to go with a movie from this year, 1983. So it's over to me. So I'm going to pick a movie, and I'm going to go with a very young, but still very funny and very talented Tom Hanks. And I'm going to go with Splash. So it's Tom Hanks and Daryl Hannah. I have a real soft spot for this movie. I love this movie a lot. And I think a lot of Gen Xers out there like this movie too. We're going to find out next week when we come back. Derek, you've seen Splash. I feel like you've mentioned on a previous podcast you didn't like it that much. Is that right? Or am I wrong?
So I have seen it. I haven't seen it in 15 years or more, probably closer to 20. I think I've only seen it once or twice. I did not see it in the theater. I was way too young. I definitely saw it on home video. I was probably a teenager at the time. I remember not really caring for it when I watched it in the, let's say, late 80s, early 90s. So, yeah, I mean, I'll certainly go back and give it a rewatch, not with completely fresh eyes, because I think I remember the broad strokes pretty well. But, yeah, we'll give it a go, and we'll come back and talk about it next week. Maybe it's aged nicely, and I'll think it's fantastic, but who knows?
We will see. I think this is going to be a very interesting conversation. I hope that you're going to like it, as much as I did. Like you, I haven't seen it in a while, so it'll be interesting to go back and watch it. But I have very fond memories of this movie, so I hope it holds up. But I guess we'll find out next time. So, but until next time, my name is Chris McBrien. That is Derek Myers, and I want to say thanks for listening to Pop Goes Your World, the pop culture podcast for the generations.
Thanks for listening to Pop Goes Your World. You can contact Chris and Derek at popgoesyourworld.com. Please take a minute and review the podcast on iTunes or wherever you download and listen to the show.